Why? It never works out for you. Whatever you try to date better people, make more money, get a better job, get a career opportunity, you do everything correctly, but it still doesn't work. It's not because you're taking the wrong action. Because I'm sure you've tried everything, but yet you don't get what you want. Why? It's because frequency is what runs your reality. That's it. It's not your action. You can do all the best action that every successful people do in order to be successful. But if you're operating from the wrong frequency, you're always gonna have a wrong reality. How many times have you seen people less than you getting the thing that you want, even though they're less qualified, even though they're no better than you, even though you've put more in the work, but yet you still don't get it? That is because your action has nothing to do with reality creation. Your action is just a bridge between frequency and reality. With the right frequency, you're gonna have the right reality. With a wrong frequency, you're gonna have a wrong reality regarding of the action you're taking. Action is just a bridge. It's not even that important. You still gotta take action, but you gotta take action from the right place, and that is frequency. Because I remember back then, I was a construction worker, and in my field, there are guys that have better skills. So when you have a better skills, that means people gonna hire you even more. So me, I only knew one thing, was roofing. That's all I knew. But then I decided to learn painting. I decided to learn plumbing. I decided to learn how to clean houses, how to cut grasses. And I acquired all of those skills. But still, I was making the same amount of money. I was still being hired by the same people that barely paid me. And the problem was not me learning new skills. Matter of fact, I started to even be better than the people that was doing the job. I started to be better at roofing. I started to be better at cutting the grass. I started to be better at cleaning houses. Like my skill level went crazy when I decided that okay, I want to make more money. I'm gonna learn more skills regarding construction. Then that means I'm gonna make more money. But yet I didn't. Why? Because I was operating from the wrong frequency, even though I had all the skills that I needed. And then what happened? I still reached a wrong reality. And it might be weird, right? But that's just how reality works. You gotta fix your frequency first, and then you're gonna have the reality that you want. So you gotta understand that frequency is what creates reality. We live on three planes of existence: physical, spiritual, and mental. Mental and spiritual is what creates the physical. Frequency is the causes, reality is the effects. You don't change an effect by changing an effect. You don't change an effect by operating from the physical. Back then, remember me, I was a construction worker. What was the physical? The physical was learning more skills to earn more money. Yet it still didn't work. Why? Because I didn't tap into the mental and spiritual world. In order to change an effect, you gotta change the cause. You don't change an effect by changing an effect. You change an effect by changing the cause. What are the causes? Spiritual and mental plane. Then that's gonna create the physical plane. And it comes down to the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, frequency, state of consciousness, your soul, higher self, God self, beings, they all saying the same thing, which is frequency. So frequency runs your life. There is a specific Bible verse that talk about this. It's John 3:27. A man can receive nothing unless it has first given him from heaven. What does that tell you? That tells you that you gotta tap into the realms of creation, the mental and the spiritual plane, in order to get anything from physical. First from heaven. Remember, that verse is the only verse you need to know. I mean, there's a couple, but that's the only one for now that you need to understand when it comes to reality creation, when it comes to make your situation better, when it comes to make it work out for you, because it's always a frequency problem. Remember, the problem is never action. The problem is always frequency. Even if you take the wrong action in the right frequency, you're still gonna have a right reality. That's how crazy this shit is. You can literally have whatever you want if you understand how to create. And it's not through action. And I'm not saying it's gonna just fall in your lap. No. What I'm saying is you gotta operate in the spiritual realms first, and then you have the physical. You alter frequency, and then gonna get new intuition regarding to that frequency. And then from that new intuition, you gotta take new action. And then from that new action, you gotta have a new reality. Simple as that. Frequency, intuition, action, reality. Most people, all they do is action and they never change the frequency, so they never get the intuition from God. So what happened? They're stuck into action and then they get the same reality. And it all starts with frequency. So whatever frequency you have right now, you gotta switch it up if you want things to change for you, if you want to unstuck your life. Change your frequency, you're gonna have better intuition, then you're gonna take better action, then you have a better reality. Simple. It just comes down to embodying the state of consciousness of somebody that already has what you want. For example, for me, back then, I wanted like more money. I wanted a better job. So I started to act like I already have a better job. I already have more money. And since emotion is the only language of God, I started to feel grateful, happy. I had serene confidence. I had peace, even if nothing in my reality changed yet. Why? Because I operated from the room of creation, which is the causes, which is the word of God. So you can just use these simple techniques. Imagine your dream life. Imagine whatever you want in life. It's a job, amount of money, career, dating partner, just better luck. Imagine a situation that shows one of those things, or even all of them, and then add positive emotion into it. So God is gonna use the emotion and whatever you imagine, He's gonna combine them and He's gonna create the physical. And then now you're gonna have whatever you want regarding what action you take. Because with the right intuition, you're never gonna have the wrong reality. And you need God's intuition. God's intuition cannot go wrong, especially if you tapped into it. The way you tapped into it, you tweak your frequency. You're gonna have God's intuition later. Then you can start to take action from that intuition. I'm not here to tell you it's just gonna fall on your lap. No, it will fall in your mind first as an intuition, and then you take action from that. But now you know that it's actually the right action, and then you're gonna have right reality. For me, for example, when I learned all of those skills when doing construction, I literally switched job right away, and I barely had to do any effort in order for me to go from that stage of my life to changing my reality. And I want you to think about this. It's not about the job, because I can tell you exactly what job I did, but if you'll do it right now, you will definitely not have the same result. Why? Because frequency runs your life. That's what happened to me. There's a lot of people in the construction industry that learn a lot of skills and they get hired. Some don't, like me, I didn't, and some do. So I thought that people that have more skill get hired more. But no, it didn't happen for me. Why? Because I was in the wrong state of frequency. So fix your frequency, you're gonna have the right intuition. As soon as you get the right intuition, take action according to that right intuition, then you're gonna have the reality you want. Simple as that. Embody the version of yourself that already has the job. Give it to yourself first, on earth as it is in heaven. A man can only receive from heaven, from frequency, from state of consciousness. Now you understand reality creation.
My client, Josh, he's a 19 years old e-commerce kid that passed his average monthly income, went from 6K to 17.5K in just 6 weeks working with me. He's been stagnant for almost a year despite having all the right strategy in place. Probably one of the hardest working young men I've seen as well, but yet he was stuck at a revenue ceiling for so long. All we did when he started to work with me was align him on the 3 planes of existence instead of just relying on the physical, which is 33%. Imagine you have 100% of full potential, but you just decide to only use 1/3 of it. If a 19 years old kid can't tap into the God consciousness power, you really think he can't? Link in the description if you want to surpass your current situation as well.